Hey everybody, once again in my car, into Red Room. This video is going to be for I am terrible because I eat a lot of processed food and I really need to get better with that. I'm addicted. I got to do a video about that. Food addiction to processed food. But yeah. So I'm here because it's that time of year where obviously it's getting darker earlier and all that kind of stuff. But I like to go I won't say completely offline because that's not right. But I do like to take breaks from social media. And when I say social media, I mean more apps where you're scrolling and scrolling and scrolling through stuff. YouTube can be that place, but I find that YouTube is a little better in that I don't know, places like Instagram feel a little bit more fleeting in terms of information. YouTube seems and has been described as more evergreen, meaning that the content can be up there for years and still can be an actual resource for people, versus Instagram, it's literally in the moment, and after that moment it's a wrap. And of course YouTube people come on there and they do trendy topics and then nobody gives a shit about that shit next week or whatever. But I find that it's a little bit more helpful, especially since I'm more active on YouTube in terms of creating stuff and putting things out. I'm more active on Instagram consuming content. So with that, I'm I have 4 Instagrams across the various things. So they're kind of linked to the YouTube channels I have. So I have a very personal one that no one I don't really follow anyone or anything outside of my geographical location. Or it's just aesthetic stuff that I like. It's kind of an offshoot of my Pinterest, so to speak. So there's that. Then I have my tarot one, which links with my tarot YouTube, which is kind of funny because I don't really post when I make videos on my Instagram. And I find that the two groups kind of overlap, but don't really. So it's kind of what's the point of having the thing? But then I'm well, I actually follow some people on here that I find really cool, and they probably don't. They may not have YouTubes. So I just keep it for that. But in terms of the crowd that's on my YouTube is the same crowd, not really. I have my art one, which is tied to my art channel, and then I have my writing one, which is my writing. I don't have one that's really specifically for this one, and I may do that, but I feel there would be nothing that I really would want to post on Instagram that I couldn't just make a video and say on here. So I'm kind of well, yeah, what do I do? But it's that time of year, and the reasons why is because actually the darker times of year, I know it's more depressing and stuff like that, but online connection isn't necessarily I don't want to say it's not helpful, but I kind of feel people who are very down during the darker periods, and this is for people who experience it getting darker at 4:30 and 5 o'clock, and have that clear marked shift, right? It's snowy, you stay indoors more, stuff like that. People who live in those environments, I don't really feel an Instagram is gonna cut it in terms of your human connection. I think you maybe being on Zoom, a part of an email list that you do these group setting type things, even if it's on an online component, I think that's more that's a little bit better than just scrolling on Instagram and maybe joining a live or something like that. To actually be in a community of people that meet up, even if it's not in person. I think it'd be better in person, but wintertime, especially when it snows, getting to and from places when you snow, it's hard or whatever. But that is better than Instagram, and for that reason I find well, Facebook is kind of one of those places where it can go either way. But I find that being a part of an actual community that then meets up right, off of those social medias that I'm talking about is really helpful. And for me, I think that it actually is more productive. So I like to connect with people. So I have friends, right? And I talk to people. And then I also vend. So I also get my like personal interactions out like that. But it's like during the winter months, or like late fall, late fall to winter, I actually like not being as online, because I find that I like to be productive in that time, and it forces me to be productive. And it also forces me to like kind of choose wisely how much energy I'm going to put out, because I'm like, it gets dark earlier. I might want to go to sleep earlier. That's another thing that's happening now, like me wanting to just go to sleep earlier. I normally used to go to sleep 3, 4, 5 a.m. I'm now trying to go like 1, 2, 3. I know that may not seem like a big difference, but that is a huge difference. Just taking advantage of all of the darkness and just feeling like I need to be more in tune with that is kind of like coming up as a thing. But back to the productivity, I find myself a little bit more productive in the wintertime, in terms of like, I think thinking about projects and writing and just resting also. I just feel like once I rest enough, then I'm productive enough. And you really do need to rest to be productive. And so if you're in the winter, the place where it snows and it gets cold and you stay inside a lot, take this time to properly rest. And I feel like I can almost guarantee that you'll be more productive, because you'll rest. And a lot of the issues that come up, they're like social callings or social tuggings at you, like to always do something. They tend to like slow down in this period, and you can really kind of get in tune with like what you really want to do. Because I feel like in the warmer months, we feel obligated to like go outside a lot and interact with a lot of people. Even if you don't really want to do it, you feel a little bit obligated because people are all around you and they're always like inviting you places, or there's just like a lot to do. And that's cool and all to like get out the house and get sun. One of the things in the wintertime, that I do is I do go outside to still get sun when it's wintertime. So I still go places and I still try to make the most of it, because without sunlight, it can be very depressing. So I do go outside. I don't want to be stuck indoors. But that being said, I want to like rest and be more in the rhythm of like, when it's darker now, we do X, Y, and Z. And we like flow with that, and we're okay with that, and we're not fighting against it. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I would say take the winter time as a time where like you're going to like rest a little bit more and be a little bit more introspective. And I do think like your priorities will change, but you will be a little bit more productive. I think you'll have time to do those things. You'll feel a little bit more rested, less stressed, and you'll be able to kind of like move forward with that. So I'm really excited about being more productive. Also, school is out for me for part of the winter, so I have about almost like 2 months to like be free. And by the time I come back, like spring is like fucking here. So I'm really not suffering too much. I'm just resting a lot. So I like it. So that's where I am. I feel like I'm slowing down. I'm being more restful, being more mindful, but slightly more focused, and it's leading to more productivity, because I'm trying to take advantage of sunlight, which means I'm getting up earlier. I'm like doing that kind of thing. So yeah. All right. Thanks for watching. I'll talk to you guys later. I'm going to do another video about like food addiction. But I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.